This report teased out a very interesting difference between how foreign-born immigrants and how native-born, Asian Americans here in the United States face these kind of issues, right? Like we all look very similar to people who are racist. But for me, at least as a foreign-born immigrant to this country, reporting this kind of abuse, at least in my earlier days, just wasn't something you ever really think about. When you feel it, when you see it, when you experience it, you most of the time just stay quiet, absorb it, and get angry on the inside and just try to move on and keep plowing ahead. And frankly, only recently have I realized that if something like this does happen to me, now that I'm empowered by my experience in this country, the fact that I've worked in DC and kind of know how the government really works, having worked in the White House, now that I've studied a bunch of law in law school, that I feel confident that I have the tools and the credibility to report something if I were to experience this kind of discrimination.
Kevin, how would someone report something like that, I guess, as someone who knows the law now?
Right. I mean, I think in terms of the employment setting, at least you should try to go to the EEOC. Right? Like the cynicism towards a system aside, that there are avenues that you should do so and you should do them. Within your work setting, definitely hit up your HR, make sure they know about it. And this is the thing. It's one thing to be willing to fight about these things. It's quite another to actually be effective in getting the results that you want. But you have to at least fight about it. But you can only fight about it if you know, at least in the beginning, where to go. And of course, there are always employment relations lawyers out there that you can seek out. There are good people out there who do want to defend against discrimination and help people who don't have the resources. But for immigrants who come into this country new, you're just blind to all this kind of system stuff, right? Until you really get to know the country and know the law, which frankly, for most immigrants, they just don't get to, right? Like they don't want to deal with it. It is not fun to deal with it, even though you're fighting for the right thing.